And it's a kind good morning from South Africa, where it's evening to Connecticut, I believe. It's Derek Hutchison, who's the president of CUMMING Management Group. Derek, how are you?
Good, Nils. Thank you, and thanks for having me. Find me in Westport, Connecticut. I can't be in New York City at this very moment, but happy to be talking to you.
Right. No, good to have you. CUMMING are no stranger to hospitality. You've done over 1,000 projects successfully in the States and in other areas as well. I saw there was Doha, there was Hawaii,
That's right.
Widespread. So you know the hospitality industry. What's the situation like now in the States or in your area?
It's interesting. I mean, we're working all over the States and all over Europe. I think most notably, New York City is one of our largest markets. Obviously, it's one of the largest construction markets in the world, and we're very active in new build hotel construction as well as repositioning. So we're actually managing the redevelopment of the Waldorf Astoria, famous building on Park Avenue, which has a lot of history and a lot of fond memories for all of us. So between that and building, boutique hotels around the city, it's certainly been challenging this last couple of months. New York City has been one of the hardest hit areas in the States in terms of this COVID crisis, and that's had a tremendous impact on construction. So we are technically have been on lockdown. Construction sites have been closed. The good news, however, is as of this morning, we're starting to see some of our hotel projects being reclassified as essential construction. So that allows us to keep work moving, which will help our clients, avoid extended cost overruns in this situation. That's something we're taking a very, very close look on.
And does you said that applies to New York? Does it apply across into other states, or?
It does to a varying degree. I mean, the US is almost like 50 separate countries with myriad jurisdictions. Of course, we're finding San Francisco, Los Angeles are similar levels of suspensions and slowdowns. Other markets, the Southeast, for example, the Carolinas, Nashville, Tennessee, which is a very hot hospitality market, we're able to keep building right now. We have some challenges in doing that. We have some revised health and safety, social distancing rules, which has an impact actually on how we can actually, continue to build effectively. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, but New York is certainly the most egregious, if you will.
In that mixed bag, if you had to throw it all together, I mean, do you see a lot of delay? Because it's also like, I mean, because of the states being, various states and almost like countries, the regulations are different. So it's also like the one might follow another one. There might be a lag there.
That's right.
Overall, considerable delay in your construction projects?
Yeah, for sure. I think you're dealing with two things. Well, really three things. Obviously, any projects that have been in design or being close to progressing to a point of capital commitments have certainly hit the pause button. Projects that are in flight, and we have many of them, have obviously been impacted. And the cost impacts are still being determined. I mean, clearly you have straight linear extensions of time and force majeure issues that we're wrestling with, which varies also state to state in terms of the permissibility of those clauses. But what we're also seeing, as even those projects return to work, things like 6 foot separation or 2-3 meter separation is having a huge impact on the productivity of the labor force. When you think about construction costs, people think about materials and commodities and oil prices. That's just one component, but the most volatile aspect and the most important aspect is the cost of labor and the productivity of that labor. So if you cannot get 20 skilled laborers in a man lift up to the top of a 50-story building, it's going to dramatically decrease the productivity. That extends the job, the costs go up, and the situation gets worse from there. So we have to take some really active measures to to handle that, and that's where our main area of focus is right now.
Now, one would assume that manufacturers that deliver materials to you and to complete the project, because we all know that the completion, the last bits, you know, the interior fit outs and whatever, and the snagging is something that's right. I would assume that they have similar issues, those manufacturers. Is there a delay or a cost implication that you find as yet from suppliers of yours?
Well, it's funny, you've opened many hotels, clearly, because you know that last 5% is the hardest part. Yeah. Look, we've certainly seen at the onset of this crisis, there was a lot of concern, obviously, with Asia, with lead times for materials. As you know, a lot of our materials are FF&E, or lighting. A lot of those products come from that part of the world. However, from what we can gather so far, a lot of those plants and factories are back up and running. We'd actually started switching to looking at more domestic product, and as they were starting to ramp up, China was opening back up again. So we're not seeing tremendous impact on lead times at this point in time. What we are watching for is ports, warehousing, and logistical challenges of actually getting the product in the country, and then from the warehouse or from the port to the site. You know, taking extra special care of how we find, you know, damage and making sure that the warehousing company is not going to go out of business. So there's this a whole myriad complex situations that we've.
Have you found over the last few weeks already, because it's a discussion that's already going on for a few weeks on the net and in forums and whatever, that people are looking to take the current crisis into consideration in terms of room design, in terms of facilities that are being offered? Have you heard that yet? Is that something which people are talking about?
You know, I can't say that's really come into our world just yet, but I can't imagine that we just signed a contract to start developing a boutique hotel in Charleston, and we are onboarding design firms right now. So I suspect the program requirements will probably be under discussion. We think about spas, you think about fitness centers, lobbies, restaurants. I think this will have an impact on how we design our hospitality spaces, for sure.
I personally feel that yes, one has to look at it, but I also think we know still too little about this virus, how it spreads, how it rests, how it sits, where all the ins and outs, and yet when you look at existing stock, I mean, there are millions of rooms that have nothing of that taken into consideration. So I think that would be a long time.
And I think really for hotel owners and investors, I think really that what happens with that inventory as the world starts opening up again, you know, a lot of these assets will have been hopefully preserved in the right way while they've been closed down. We've had teams running around the UK and Europe helping one of our clients stabilize their assets. You can't just turn the keys, shut the doors. These hotels, you've got refrigeration, you've got HVAC systems and water systems to maintain. So we're helping almost in a facilities management.
To be done.
When this recovery does start, we're not dealing with any restoration issues.
We're running out of time as usual. It always is a great shame because I love to have longer discussions. What do you say, if you had in 2 sentences, is there something positive that we can take out of this for your industry, for our industry, or as society?
Well, I'm certainly positive when I hear that hospitality being deemed as essential construction, of course, because that applies to my team and to our clients. Look, I think any time where we can try to drive some creativity, I think the hospitality industry are one of the reasons I enjoy working in this industry is some of the most creative people you'll ever come across. And I know that if anyone can handle this challenge, it's this community. Again, I do see, and I am speaking to a lot of our investment clients who have a lot of dry powder. They've been stockpiling some cash for key gateway cities. And I think we'll find over the next 6 months a lot of pent-up transaction activity taking place in places like London, places like New York and San Francisco and Los Angeles. So I think people who are interested in hospitality are long-term, take a long-term view, trophy assets.
There we go.
better trophy assets than places like the Waldorf Astoria in New York. So we're confident that we will get through this and we'll be back to business real soon.
Excellent. On that positive note, Derek, thank you so much. Derek Hutchison of CUMMING. Thank you.
Thank you very much.